I want to go to, I don't know which defendant Harry McDougal represents. There's so many. But he did a good job, I thought. There were multiple lawyers on the defense side of kind of ticking off the number of problems with the case and then ended with a boom. Take a listen to SOT 14.
There are 6 different actual conflicts of interest in this case, any one of which warrants disqualification, but collectively practically compelling. First, the financial conflict that's already been covered. Second, the personal ambition, political ambition. Third, there's a dovetailed or complementary pattern of deceit and concealment of the relationship and the money. Fourth, the speech at the church. Fifth, the motion for protective order that the DA filed in Mr. Wade's divorce case. Sixth, the way the state has conducted the defense of this motion to disqualify, especially the hearing. They did nothing to correct obviously perjured testimony. In and of itself, that warrants disqualification of every one of them. The reason they lied and covered it up was to avoid the trouble therein.
Boom. He represents Jeffrey Clark. What's his story, Phil?
Yeah, so this attorney made a very, I think, persuasive argument, and he checked a lot of the boxes things that we've talked about in recent days. You know,
I give this guy an A+. He's the only guy I give an A+ to, I have to say.
Absolutely. Listen, he did a great job, and he makes the very good point, things we've talked about. If a lawyer is participating in a case and their boss, like when I was an assistant district attorney, if my boss had told me that he wanted me to help further and participate in a fraud on the court, I would have no other choice but to quit. I would have to resign because a lawyer cannot participate in a fraud on the court. And it's become very obvious when you hear Miss Yurdy come in and you see the Terrence Bradley text and you have the actual raw data, whether it's in evidence or not. You at the DA's office have all this cell phone data, and you know that your boss and you know that her boyfriend have said things to the court that were demonstrably untrue. You have an obligation at that point to walk away. You cannot further participate in it. So either they don't
Where's
believe
Anna
it,
Cross?
they're choosing not
Where's
to
Anna
believe it.
Cross?
Yeah.
Free
Anna Cross
Anna. She wasn't there again today, Phil. That she was a special prosecutor. She was brought in. She was the one who put Terrence Bradley on the stand originally, and then she disappeared.
The email that I saw that I was privy to was one from several days ago, but it was after the state's most recent, the response that they made last Friday. She indicated something to the effect that I'm going to be tied up for several weeks with her own cases. Again, she's a private lawyer. You know, how many DA's offices hire private lawyers to come in and prosecute cases? In Georgia, it's almost unheard of. I've never seen anything quite like this. So, you know, all that is just part of the big weirdness of this. But for now, she's no longer here. She's not at the state. She's not at the table. She actually handled the examination of Terrence Bradley the first time he was on the stand. And there was apparently some discussion because when one lawyer starts the examination of a witness, that lawyer's got to stay with it until that witness is complete. It's called double teaming. Lawyers can't just come in and out in the middle of a witness. And so the defense was saying, no, we can't have Mr. Abadi doing this. It's got to be Miss Cross. But apparently the judge let them switch up, and we saw Mr. Abadi come in. Whether or not,
and she didn't even sign the next brief. She's removed her name so far from the pleadings. She didn't show up at either of the hearings that we've had.
Yeah.
I have real questions about whether we're ever going to see Anna Cross in this case again, or whether she knows something that required her to step down as representative of the Fani Willis team. She was their lead. She was running herd on this. Yeah. They didn't want this junior guy running the show, and we all see why. My God, he was terrible. I'm sorry, Mr. Abadi. Maybe you're a sweet man, but I mean, a few more years in front of juries would serve you really well. Dave Aronberg would not hire you. He might put you on the junior baby cases, but he would not put you out in front of America on this case. Dave, you tell me that prosecution rebuttal was painful.
Megyn, Mr. Abadi served an important purpose today. He proved to the world why Fani Willis needed to bring on special counsel. That's why she had to bring on Nathan Wade, right? So you're welcome, right. He's going to say, right? He's going to return to the table, say, you're welcome, Fani Willis. And to me, the worst part was when they kept having to slip him notes, like when the client has to keep slipping you notes like, hey, you got to say this and that. That's not a good look.
And the judge stumped him because he was trying to tell the court, you shouldn't believe Robin Yurti's testimony that the affair began in 19 because her lawyer, in trying to get her out of her appearance altogether, represented to the court that she had no personal knowledge of anything here. And the judge is like, first of all, the lawyer wasn't subject to cross-examination. That wasn't testimony. And I can't use that against Robin Yurti. But second of all, what's your theory, young prosecutor, that what would have been the incentive for Robin Yurti to say to her lawyer, I don't know anything, and then when told you've got to take the stand, to suddenly come up with a dramatic story? It's been going on since 19. I've witnessed it myself. And she told, if she wanted to get Fani Willis, she would have said from the get-go, put me in, coach. I'm ready. And the lawyer was so, do we have that cut, you guys? He was on his heels. It's coming in a second. I had secondhand embarrassment for him. You remember the moment, Dave? Did you see it?
I watched it, and he actually walked it back. Yeah, point taken, Your Honor, point taken. But then he said, because of the bright lights and the national audience, that was his explanation of why he made that argument, that she didn't want to be embarrassed in front of everything, in front of the whole world. But it really didn't make that much sense. By saying she didn't know anything? That's right. Exactly. That was the problem. That's why the judge called him out on it. It wasn't a great day for Mr. Abadi. He does seem like probably a nice guy, but he got trashed on Twitter or X by people on both sides. And I think you do see why, as I said, that Fani Willis decided to hire on real special counsel instead of going with him.
Oh, my God. I know. I mean, Anna Cross, she was decent, but she seems to have flown the coop. Now she's stuck with this guy. Oh, we've got it. All right, let's play that moment.
What I would submit to the court is that Miss Yurti's testimony was nothing more than inconsistent at best, based on what I referenced to the court earlier as it relates to the representations that were made by her counsel prior to.
Are those in evidence? Would his responses during a motion to quash, which weren't subject to cross-examination by defense attorneys, weren't even part of the evidentiary record of the hearing? Again, I'm just kind of puzzled by that. You didn't ask the question of Ms. Yurti, what did you tell your attorney before coming here? And then we could have dealt with privilege issues and whatever else.
I would agree with the court. It's not an evidence, but it was a statement by an officer.
All right,
of this
you
court
get the flavor. That's how it went on and on and on. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.